what's up? C0BRA129. It's your boy Rudy Padilla. I'm over here on our very first podcast ever, man.
Yeah.
So today we got a real treat here. So if you've been following my Instagram, you've been also checking out all my videos that I've been posting on there. Checking out all the performances from local artists all over San Antonio. So today, I could present to you, we got one of those artists here with us today. We got Jay Alexander.
Yo, how you doing, man?
Cool, man. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the C0BRA129 audience, get to know Jay Alexander a little bit, all right?
Sure thing. Well, obviously, my name is Jay Alexander. I'm born and raised San Antonian. I've moved out a couple times, but, this is my home. I always found my way back. I love the culture of the city. I've been writing since I was 11, releasing music since 15. Started really taking things seriously at 19, and by 20, I started my own business. So, just every day has been something new. Every day is, trying to top the last, and music's been my passion my whole life. So, I want to continue to do it, and I want to provide myself with a living, and my family and my friends through the things that I do. I think music and lyricism, lyrics, words, all of that's super powerful, and I just want to convey that to the people.
Excellent. Very cool. And that's actually true. But anything that you do out there, be passionate about it and just go in all force.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes.
Leap
of faith.
So you're talking about the music here. I want to do one of my questions, like getting into the hip hop and R&B industry or whatever. What artists actually influenced you when you first got started or whatnot?
Okay, so I remember, I grew up in the age of like when MTV was like dying. You know what I mean? Like they were just starting to put all these other shows in there, and it really wasn't that many music videos. And so I would watch music videos on there, but it was really when YouTube started like popping off that artists like Eminem, artists like Lil Wayne, artists like Drake, the main poppin' artists. I really never was a kid, so I never really understood local artists. It was just mainly mainstream at the time. People like Kanye West. I remember being in second grade, printing out like the lyrics for Heartbreak, and I don't know. There's been a lot of influences. It just depended on the time. I know, and he kind of fell off depending on who you ask. But I mean, you look at him now. But for sure, when I really started getting into this at 15 and started releasing music, it was a new age. It was the streaming era. It wasn't really. You didn't have to go get a record deal to release music anymore. It was just accessible to the public. Yeah. And so, whatever your opinions are on him or not, but I really looked up to Chance the Rapper. The things he did with the Social Experiment and Donnie Trumpet, and all of it was independent. And as far as what I know, as far as everything that was portrayed and shown to me, and that really inspired me to do the things that I do. To go out there and start my own record label, do it, find the team, and because that's really it. Like Joey Diaz said, all you need is 3 motherfuckers. You can take over, the world. And like, so it was just like, it was finding my team, and it was, knowing I could do this, but I got to find the right people around me.
Right. Right.
So
you got to get the formula correct, experiment a little bit.
Yes.
And get like when you meet certain people or whatever in your life, you just if you click together and what you want to do, you just go all in and go for it.
Hell yeah. And like, I was blessed and lucky enough to know what I wanted to do by 11. So my pops used to tell me, go to sleep telling yourself what you want to be, wake up, tell yourself you want to be, what you want to be, look at yourself in the mirror. And that's all I did. And like, that gave me time to build those hours, to build, and understand relationships with others. And I've had, I've had other teams, I've had other, rap groups, we've tried. But really, it's just like over time, going through everything, I really got to build my intuition and my judge of character on others, you know, and like I have to have my sense. I have to have like my sixth sense on, you know, and because when I bring people in here, you know, and I introduce them to everybody, you know, and I'm not only thinking of myself. I've got a whole company and I have a whole team, you know, that, you know, if I say jump, you know, we're jumping, you know, and so I gotta make sure that what we're jumping into, you know, whoever is coming aboard or anything like that, like I definitely, you know, read body language and all that. So, you know, try to be as keen as possible.
That's good. That's good. So when you were first beginning or whatever, how was your like feeling or whatever going into something that you are passionate about but uncertain whether it's going to work or not? Like, how were you feeling that at that time?
So it was for the first the first 5 years, really, like from 11 to like, you know, 16. It was like I was very unconfident in the things that I did. You know, I kept it going because it's always been, writing has been therapeutic for me. You know, I would listen to Eminem, and I didn't have nowhere near of a tragic backstory as he did, you know, but like I heard, you know, the things that he would go through, and he used, you know, music and words to, you know, get him through those times. And so, you know, I was like, well, if I'm listening to music, and this guy, you know, he used to listen to music, and, you know, he writes music now, and look where that got him, you know, so, like, it wasn't until, you know, people would always tell me, you know, like, I built up a lot of grit. People would dog on the music, and, like, of course, you know what I mean, like, you know, you're in high school, everyone's dicks, you know what I mean, like, you know, you can't help it, middle school's even worse, but, like, you know, it really, it never stopped me. People would, like, play my stuff out loud, and it would be, you know, it'd be pretty shit, but, you know, like, I didn't go, like, you know, I quit, you know, it was like, you know what, motherfucker, like, like, I just can't deliver this the way I need to. I feel I've always been a little bit ahead of my time, and it's taking, you know, years for other people to understand, you know, the things that I want to do and the things I'm capable of, but I've always known, you know, from, like, 15, 16 and up, like, I could do this. You know, I could do this. It's really, it's all on me. It's if I don't do this, it's because I quit. It's because I gave up. It wasn't because anybody else, you know, put anything in front of me, in front of any limitations. Like, the only limitations you set on are on yourself. You know, I love this quote, you know, when Bruce Lee, you know, be water. You know, when there is no way, make a way, you know, that's your way, you know, and so, like, I've always just
I was thinking Avatar myself.
yeah. So, like, you know, it's just I was always just striving to get better, to be the best artist that I could be, for not only, like, I know this is for the people, but it was also for myself at the time. A lot of this in the beginning was, you know, really just being able to have a source or a place to release, you know, energy. I would work out, you know, I would do other things, you know, do sports or anything like that, but, you know, nothing really felt the same as writing a song and then listening back to that song. You know, I've cried on those keyboards before, like, you know, but I've also, you know, felt and had moments where it's just pure euphoria through my entire body, and, like, no drug, no anything gives me that feeling. And the moment I first felt that, when I was 15, and I released this song, and, you know, I felt it, and then I saw other people feeling it, and then I would be walking in school, and people would, like, have their, like, my song on their phone, and that shit was just, like, I'm reaching out to people, you know, like, it made me feel really good, and it made me want to keep, you know, sharing my story, and regardless of what it is, someone's going to relate, you know, and that's just how I've always kind of thought with it.
Awesome. That's actually well said. I couldn't even put that better myself.
Thank you.
So, keep it on rolling here. If you can actually think of, while you were going on from the beginning up to now, if you could think of your biggest failure that you've ever done, like, what would you like, wish that you knew going into the industry before actually jumping into it, like, as you are right now compared to what you were at the beginning or whatnot?
Yeah. I would say probably my biggest failure would probably be, not being able to maintain certain relationships that I've built. I've burned some bridges before. Mm-hmm. Some people it was worth it. Some people, it wasn't. And, it was just me being young, me being naive to the situation that I was in. I would say I always knew what I wanted to do, but I never knew how much work it was going to take. Mm-hmm. Right? And I don't think anybody really does when they first start something,
Right.
I knew I was going to be independent. I knew I was going to have my own record label, but my 15, 16-year-old mind wasn't thinking like, oh yeah, you're going to be running that too. Mm-hmm. Like you're going to be doing your music stuff, but you're also going to have all these different things. Mm-hmm. And so that was it's really trying to find that balance, like between, at the time, there was school, work, home life, and then, doing everything else, personal relationships and everything. I would give up the music a little bit, to focus on other things. And to this day, like, I'll still not give up the music, but like, I would say, like, I just put it on hold. To this day, I'll still do that. I'm in here, I'm in the office, in the studio, sometimes on average 60 hours a week. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's 70, sometimes it's 50, just depends. Mm-hmm. Right? So I've learned, you have to, time is everything. Time is money, mm-hmm. And like, the older you get, my pops is 62, he always tells me, like, the older you get, the more you realize this. So it's better to understand it now. Mm-hmm. And, time blocking, time management, it's key. Mm-hmm. Even if it doesn't matter if you're going to be a CEO or if you're just going to go, I worked at a bakery, getting there on time and then time managing after that, like what I'm going to do to maximize and be most productive, maximize my efficiency and be most productive. Mm-hmm. I have dedicated days now, which is like today, mm-hmm. where I get to focus on nothing but my music and anything for my stuff, because I'm always working on stuff for other artists and for, other commercial clients as well. So, mm-hmm. it's just trying to find that balance. Rest too. I would fuck up a lot by not giving myself time to sleep, time to, unwind, time to just, like, let my mind not be racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Right.
We were talking earlier, before this, working at La Cantera.
Yeah.
I would be, once again, 5 p.m. to 5 a.m., and then I would work on music until around 12 p.m. or 1 p.m., mm-hmm. and then I have to go to work 3 hours later. So I'd be on 3 hours of sleep, working 8 days in a row, and I was drinking like 2 bangs a day, like I was eating at like 1:30 a.m. and it was like this freaking sourdough grilled cheese like egg sandwich. Dog, I was messing my body up. I sent my ass to the ER. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, that shit. I had to do what I had to do. I was couch surfing at the time. I didn't really have any places to stay. And also another thing, like relearning to invest your money, into yourself. Not even into like, you don't have to understand crypto. You don't have to understand the stock market, Fortune 500 and all that shit. Reinvest in whatever you like to do as a person. Mm-hmm. Because, you can work a job 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, making $2+ grand a month, and still by the end of the year have nothing to show for it. Mm-hmm. And I did that for a lot of my early teenage and late teenage years. Like it wasn't until I moved out, couch surfed, got my own apartment, so I was like, okay, every dollar counts. you know, I'm spending, like, I would spend hella money on weed, not gonna cap, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and I was like, you know, I'm putting this money into feeling temporary happiness, feeling temporary whatever, you know what I mean? What it was. A lot of the times, you know, it would kind of coincide with making music. You know, you'd smoke, you make music, you know, like, that was my thing. And but I'd go look at my bank account and I'd be like, oh shit, you know, I if I wanted to buy a new mic, I wanted to buy a new plug-in, like, you know, I can't. So, you know, really doing what I've done with this company has made me learn a lot of responsibility. I would suggest people learn responsibility before they try to do these things, because, you know, I've been blessed to have a really solid team behind me. You know, these guys, they keep me on my P's and Q's, and as well as, you know, I for them. But, you know, a lot of these guys who are on my team, you know, they went to college. They you know, they put in work, and they're very knowledgeable guys. And they put in a lot of theoretical work. I've put in a lot of, you know, groundwork, and you know, I've got a lot of experience. So now we're combining both of those things. You know what I mean? So it's just been, you know, it's all been a learning process. But number one thing is don't give up, reinvest in yourself, believe, you know, and keep going. Even the hardest days, you know, take a step back. You know, you may be pushing yourself too hard. You know, take a step back. Still do what you need to do, but, you know, let your mind, you know, take time to understand what you're going through. You know, and you have to be connected, mind, body, and soul. If you're just trying to push one thing, if you're only focused on one thing, it's not gonna. Things won't align.
Right. So. That's so true. Everything that he says is true. So this question just popped in my head or whatever. So, like, we're focusing mainly on the hip hop and R&B industry or whatever. But how about, like, other genres of music or whatever? What other genre is do you actually like?
So my pops, you know, I grew up on classic rock. You know, Aerosmith, Boston. You know, I love me classic rock. You know, like driving down the beach. You know, my pops put me into a lot of music. We would just drive with the windows down, blasting the car speakers, and, like, that's one of the earliest memories that I have. You know, and my mom, you know, she put me on a lot of the 80s music. I can't name any names, but I can guarantee you, like, you put on an 80s playlist, I'll be able to sing, like, 95% of the songs that are coming on there.
Baja and some of those
artists.
Yes,
yes, you know, so, like, I've had, you know, jazz. Like, my pops used to, you know, every Sunday morning, it'd be Sunday morning Q1019 and all that shit. Like, I forgot what his name is. David Munoz, that boy. Yeah, he would always do the jazz thing, and so you hear, like,
yeah.
And I don't know. There's something about a saxophone. There's something about, like, music without lyrics that can really move you. EDM, as far as EDM, I would listen to a lot of
Deadpool now. Remember?
right, yes. But I would listen to a lot of EDM as a kid. I've listened to a little country. I'm from Texas, you know what I mean? So, like, country's always around. The right country song get me dancing. You know what I mean? But, like, am I gonna go on my playlist and be like, hey, let me, you know, listen to country? No. But no hate on that. That's everyone in that genre, you know, they work hard to be where they're at, you know, and people say, you know, I've heard people say, oh, country music sounds the same, but at the same time, everyone says, oh, all hip-hop sounds the same, oh, all rock music now sounds the same, you know? Everyone's got that stigma where, like, a certain genre sounds the same, but it's like, you haven't really even dived in enough to, like, put too much, you know, judge on it. But yeah, man, I mean, mainly it's always been hip hop, it's always been rap. That's the genre I've always felt, you know, most connected to from the culture, you know, like the positive side of the culture, you know, just spreading, you know, a message and telling your story, you know, through your lyrics and having and saving lives, man, through that. you know, making whole movements. Like, hip-hop has changed the world. It has changed the world. Every country now is on that. You know, and, like, we're on to a new, like, we're hip-hop isn't the same as it was 5 or 6 years ago, you know, and it's always evolving. It's transcending into something more and something different.
Man, I remember, like, hip-hop from the late 90s and the early 2000s. That's just showing how old I am.
No, it's a totally different ballgame. It's a totally different ballgame. You know, you have back then, you know, that was your gangster rap. You know, that was like, but a lot of those guys were like actually in gangs. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that a lot of these guys are faking, but you know, like you have your New York drill and motherfuckers. They're not playing. You know what I mean? They're not playing. But like, you know, a lot of that stuff. I want to see hip hop go more of in a positive route when it comes to. We've heard flexing, we've heard, you know, killing people and shit like that, but like, I want to hear more of people, you know, doing what they love to do, and providing a really good story, you know, while also, you know, having really great, you know, melodies within the track, and nowadays, you know, if you're, at least my personal opinion, you know what I mean, like, if you're a rapper, you got to do some sort of melodies in your style of flow at this point. You know, no one's listening too much. The masses, not no one. I'm not gonna say no one because the motherfuckers are gonna be like, hey, you can't. But you know, the masses, they really just. A lot of times I hear people, they're like, I don't even know what they're saying. I just like I feel the vibe of it. You know what I mean? And that's all it is nowadays. You know, it's the vibe, and I think. The best artists and the most long-lasting artists in today's day and age, you know, from like 10 years ago and now, have been able to adapt to hip-hop changing and providing the audience with, you know, great vibes, great melodies, harmonies, and everything like that, and structure of a song. But also, when an artist does take the time to listen, they're like, oh shit, he's actually saying something. She's actually saying something. You know, like I felt it before, but now that I even understand the lyrics, now that I've, you know, read it, and it hits on a whole new level. And those, I feel, you know, those artists are here to stay. You know, but
like some of those iconic songs, even from back in the day, or whatever, where it's a hit at the time, and then like nowadays, like just certain songs, if you actually listen to the lyrics, it actually resonates with people now, or whatever.
Yes. What is it? The intro to the song on Pound Cake. Although the bullshit is here today and going tomorrow. On some shit in the beginning, you know. They're talking about how real music, that's the shit that's gonna last. You know, and like, I mean, why do you think people still play Bob Marley? You know, why do you think people still listen to Tupac, even though he's been long gone for such a long time? And, you know, regardless of how any other people feel about him, like, people still listen to him because his words resonate with a lot of people, you know, and it's just a different style. It's just, it's portrayed differently. It's a different time. You know, those songs, man, like, you make a good song, it'll last for years. Look at fucking Beethoven, man. There's no lyrics. Like, come on, man. You know what I mean? You make a good song, that shit's gonna be gone. That shit's gonna be lasting for centuries. So, yeah.
I guess it's just like, it's trying to preserve a legacy, basically, is what is the message that we're trying to convey out here. So,
yes.
All right. Trying to think of another one here. Well, since we're actually in this time day and age, the time when you first started till now, whatever, what resources have you actually noticed now that it's more accessible and easy to put your work out than it was back then or whatnot?
Yeah. So, as far as resources, I don't know when they started this, but I know I started using like Splice. A lot of people hate on it in the music industry, but I think Splice is an amazing tool. You can, if you can't afford, because a lot of these plugins, right, are like $800 and up, $400 and up, you know, like they get up there. They get it. Music is an expensive hobby. That's why I was like, it's not going to be a hobby. This is going to be my career. You know what I mean? So, being able to rent to own, you know, being able to like, okay, $10 a month, $30 a month, you know what I mean? Like, you can profit a lot from that, and then you can always just cancel it whenever you rack up everything. You know, let's say you're running a studio type shit, you know, you got your plugins, you're renting to own. As soon as you know, can buy those plugins, you buy them, or else, you know, because there's deals all the time, man. Like Sweetwater or like UA, a lot of these audio digital companies, any fucking holiday, like deal, you know what I mean? Right. Like, it's cold outside, let's give them a deal, you know, like finding the right time when to purchase it too, you know. DistroKid's it's been around for a while. I think DistroKid, out of all of them, is the best bang for your buck. No matter what you want to do, a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, it's kind of just what you want to do," but you know, $20 a year for unlimited uploads, you get 100% of your royalties. You get 100% of everything. Like, you can't get that really like from these other places. They come with catches. They come with, you know, DistroKid's got, you know, hidden fees, whatever, you know, but nothing compared to a lot of these other software. So, you know, there's a ton of resources out there to put yourself on. You know, if you're a striving artist, you know, like, and you're working a 9 to 5 or something like that, you know, my biggest suggestion to you would be like, save up everything that you can. You know, if you have a situation where you can save all your money, like, you're gonna get there fucking ASAP, you know. But if you got other things, you know, it might take you a little longer. But I would say, if you have, and I know it's a lot of money, especially like depending on who you ask too, but for the average Joe, if you have and are able to scrounge up around $3,000, you can get yourself an amazing setup. An amazing setup. You spend like $1,500 on a computer, you know what I mean, that comes with everything. You know, you buy, you rent, and this is with renting, you know what I mean, you rent your software, you rent your plugins, you know what I mean, you buy a mic. Nowadays you can get a really good fucking mic for a couple $100. Even you can get a really good mic for even $100, you know what I mean. My first mic was an AT 2020. Like,
the mics that we're using were only $50.
Hell yeah, you know what I mean. Like, you can get a mic, you know what I mean, like a really good mic for cheap, you know. So Scarlett, they're like $100, you know what I mean. Like, do your research, go find deals. You can buy yourself, you know, everything you need to have like demo quality, if not like top producing, like Sony Records type tracks, you know what I mean. It's all about, you know, I work purely inside the box as well, you know. Other people are going to tell you, you know, you got your analog junkies, and it's just like, this is the only way you can do it. And like, you know, there's so much versatility with working inside the box. I could do it anywhere. I could take it anywhere. And as long as you know how to use your plugins, that's really it. You know, it's not the car, it's the driver. You know, I've worked with shitty plugins in shitty environments, and that has made me, you know, be the engineer and be as skillful as I am in the trade that I do, because I took the time. Granted, I was blessed I had the time. I was a kid, you know, I was in school. It'd be a lot different if I just started this now. But yeah, so, you know, like, especially if you're young, if you have the time, you know, my parents used to tell me, like, you're going to be working the rest of your life, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to be busy. You better, you need to do whatever you do. You learn now, you know, you take your time, you take the time of your youth to, yes, have fun. This doesn't mean, like, every fucking day sit down and just do your thing, you know, do that thing. Like, go out with your friends, go have fun, go live a normal life, because after that shit, whenever things hit the fan, whenever you got to start paying for your own stuff, you got to start paying for everything, like, you got to be prepared. And if you go into it with, you know, being able to provide a service right out the gate, you know what I mean? Some people, you know, they get out of high school and they go into a trade, and so they're not making money till 20, you know. And if I had done things right, if I wasn't naive and I wasn't really confident enough in the work that I did, you know, so I never really I didn't start charging until like 19. But man, I could have been charging from 16 and up, you know what I mean? Had I, you know,
Had I known.
Yeah. Had someone who just been like, yo, dude, why are you doing this for free? Like, even though you're like, you may not be like that great at it, but you're providing all the equipment, you're providing your time. Once again, time's money. You don't really understand that as a kid. You got all the time in the world, you know, what it feels like. But then it'll catch up to you before you know it. You know, so invest on yourself, you know, get yourself equipment. You know, save yourself time. If you can find yourself an audio engineer, you know, you can send them their stems. You know, you can save yourself on studio time, all that stuff. And overall, it's just going to make you a well-rounded artist. You know, you take the time to deep dive and not just be a lyricist, not just be either a rapper or a singer. The moment you start diving into other aspects of music is the moment you become a better musician, a better artist. You know, you can create things that are more dynamic. You can create things that have depth to it because you understand what you want. Being able to be in and working in a collaborative environment as well. You learn how to use the things. You learn how to communicate with other people because, you know, it's one thing as an artist, like, oh, I can't really explain it to you. Like, I don't know the sound, you know, I don't know. But if you're an engineer, if you produce as well as make music, you're like, okay, I need this key here. I need, you know, these type of plugins. I need this reverb here. I need a compression here. You know, you can, the workflow is going to be a lot smoother. It's going to be a lot more efficient, and people are going to take you a little bit more seriously, respect you a little bit more. And it's not about that, but it does help. You know, it helps. So yeah, man.
You reminded me, because just hearing your story or whatever, that just reminded me of a saying I remember hearing from Robert Rodriguez, the director, explaining, like, in his profession, like filmmaking, the difference between filmmaking now versus filmmaking way back then, like in the 70s or whatever. Like, this is the only way to do things or whatever. So he reminded me of he told a story or whatever that explains very well what we're actually talking about here. So he told a story about, okay, so there's a guy who he observed his wife cooking a holiday ham in the kitchen, and he noticed that that she liked to cut the sides of the ham all the time when she does it, and he thought, like, that was very wasteful. Like, that's a lot of ham that could be put on the plate, you know?
Or in your belly. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So he asked his wife, like, hey, hon, why do you cut the sides of the ham like that? He's like, I don't know. That's just how my mom did it. So they, I guess, gave a phone call to the mom, and they said, well, hey, Mom, we just wanted to ask, why do you cut the sides of the holiday ham on the sides, or whatever? She says, I don't know. That's just how my mom did it.
Right.
So they all actually took a road trip to Grandma's house, where she's at, or whatever, and they got the kids into the living room, all tidy rolling, and then everybody went to the kitchen, and they asked Grandma, why do you cut the sides of the ham on holiday or whatever? And the grandma comes out, oh, well, that's the only way I could fit the ham in the pan that I had at the time.
Right. You know,
so,
and you could have gotten all these generations, you know, if people were following, you know, a certain tradition in a certain way, you know, and that can sometimes be a really good thing, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. There's that saying, you know, or that could also, you know, the moment someone asks a question like that, you know, it's like, it's all about, it's that having that different perspective and understanding, you know, okay, why do we do the things we do? You know, how did we get here? And is there any way to make this process any easier, any, you know, smoother?
Exactly.
You know, like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just have to, you know, innovate it. You know, we have to, you know, build from it. You know, how can we, you know, make this product or service better? You know?
Exactly. So we're coming up on the 35-minute mark. There was a question in here that I wanted to ask, which is closing or whatnot. Yeah, that's the last question. So What advice would you give somebody who is going into the industry, either at the beginning or maybe in the middle of their career? Like we just said, there's new ways of actually doing things all the time, whatever.
Yes.
So if you can give your personal advice to those who are going into the industry right now, what would you actually say to them?
So, have that grit. Mm-hmm. Have that grit. There's going to be the toughest of days, and I've yet to reach mine, you know what I mean? So you have to have that grit. Be resourceful. We're in a day and age where if you've got a phone, you can fucking do some shit. You can make shit happen. It's all on you. And that leading into taking initiative. It's all on you. No one's going to tell you. That's one thing. People, it sounds great. Oh, yeah, I'm a CEO. Oh, I'm a boss. I do this. But it's like, okay, do you actually do it, or do you say you do it? You know what I mean? There's two different things, and the things that separates them is the initiative. Putting yourself in places that you need to be in, building relationships that you need to build in order to get yourself into a certain area that you want to be in your life. Taking initiative to learn, to hold yourself accountable, because at the end of the day, the team I have is great, but all those years I didn't have the team I had. I was me. J. Cole said, there's this one line where he's like, I was out there, something, I had to check myself. It's off of Sacrifices, and like, that's on some shit. You have to check yourself. You have to make sure that, you're holding yourself accountable for the things you do. You're being resourceful. You're taking initiative, and, you have and you build your grit. It's a muscle. Grit is a muscle. It's you can build it. You can strengthen it. But people don't like to. People are afraid to, because they have to go through tough times. But you put yourself, not saying go and put yourself in hella hard times, but that's the only way to really understand who you are. You have to go out there. You have to take leaps of faith. You have to do things that scare you. You have to do things that, you got to go out there. Yeah, team's great, but like, you really find yourself when you're alone. You're in an unknown environment with a bunch of unknown people. What can you do? What are you going to do? How are you going to act? How are you going to portray yourself? It's really like, and if you don't know, ask yourself. A lot of people forget to ask themselves questions. People don't be like, how do I feel? How does this make me feel? Do I really want to do this? Is this a good idea? Sometimes, people don't want to ask themselves certain questions because they won't like the answers to those questions.
Especially when they know the answers.
Especially when they know the answers. Right? I've been there, man. I'm like, and that, like, on some shit, it goes back to, like, how much I was spending on weed. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I didn't want to admit to myself I was spending that much money on weed. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what fucking excuse I gave myself, my bank account still showed that shit in my bank account. So it didn't matter. Excuses don't matter.
The numbers don't lie.
The numbers don't lie, man. That's fucking true. Yes, so really, that's my advice. Just keep going, believe in yourself, have the grit, take initiative, be resourceful.
Awesome. Well, before we close out, is there any of your plugins, social media, any contacts you want to give the audience before we close out here?
Yes. There's 2 @. There's 27 Studios _ That's our company. We do media services. We do recording services. You're trying to make albums. Your business needs a commercial. You need ads done. All that stuff. We're your people. Jalexander.27. That's going to be my handle. That's going to be where all my music, everything that I'm doing on a personal basis, it's going to be shown there. We've got tons of songs. I've got 2 years worth of music that I'm dropping. Slowly I'm dropping like a single a month. So we've got a lot of projects being taken place. We've got 7 music videos and 7 songs that we're doing right now for this one artist, 3 music videos and 7 songs for another. So there's going to be a ton of content. There's going to be a ton of we're about to be in South by Southwest this coming weekend for that. Actually, that's one of the things we're going to do. So
nice.
People want to check that out, just go ahead and 27 Studios _ jalexander.27 on Instagram and all platforms.
Are you going to be in Austin at that time?
Yes, I am.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
So, Austin fans, be sure to check that out.
Yes. I'll see you there.
Yeah. And then before we go, also go ahead and check out my content. YouTube at all caps C0BRA129. The O is the number 0. I did that for copyright reasons.
Yeah.
And then this podcast I'll be putting up on all platforms. Check us all out. And we're going to get out of here.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's been great. You asked really great questions. Mm-hmm. And this is awesome, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Until next time, see ya.